you might have those impulses where you're fearful of what you might do to yourself in trading, which is what I had. And I had to be conditioned to go in looking at the market from a different approach than just one entry technique. It feels too, in my opinion, because I wrestle with all this bullshit and obsessive compulsive disorder, it feels too myopic for me to know only one way of getting into a marketplace. In my opinion of a highly efficient trader, they should have more than one way to get in. And I felt if I didn't have that, I was not properly equipped to trade. So I wanted to have a repertoire of things. Because in my mindset was, I'll have a tool for whatever the fuck they bring to me. Whatever that market's going to do today, I will have a trade. Now, I can do that today, but admittedly, that was a dumb decision, which caused me to make a lot of tweaks and mess with stuff and blow accounts trying to make things happen when I didn't have any proof behind what it was I was trying to force as a trader when I first started. And for some, if you listen to me as a benchmark of 5 handles, you're starting from ground zero. So 5 handles is a huge win. If you just get that one time a week and you stop and you don't lose it, that's a good thing. That's good. Especially if you're doing it with a one mini contract. You're doing $1,250 a week. Well, that's not entirely true, is it? If you're doing it multiple times each week, you can build it up to that. 25 handles. But if you do it every single day, do that, you're going to get it that way. But if you just, right now, for instance, the folks that are in Africa, you are challenged financially right now. And in Nigeria, there's a whole lot of shit going on. If you made $250 a week, just a week, that's life-changing over there. And some of you have done the math on that, thinking, man, I'm going to live a whole different lifestyle once this starts happening for me. But in the United States here, unfortunately, and this is not to talk down to anybody else in another country, but $250 doesn't even pay my fucking cable bill per month. So here we have a lot of expenses and we live lives that are really bloated with things that are just overpriced. And I'm not exempt to that. But these 5 handles can make a major dent, even with what I spend a month. I've already told you, $1,500, $1,300, $1,200 of groceries. And I have not my full family. My 3 older children, they have their own places. They're outside my house. And I still have to pay a lot of money. In my opinion, that's a lot of money for groceries. So I know that all of you that aren't making a lot of money right now, and you're making whatever your job pays, and you have your families, you have your bills, your ends to meet, and you have all this stuff going on around us that's causing shit to get really expensive. Like really expensive. The car I just bought, my son, Cameron, Nissan Sentra, $28,000. That car should never sell for $28,000. They wanted $29,800. That was the lowest they were going to go. And I said, I will never buy another car from this lot again unless I get it for $28,000. So naturally, they sold it for $28,000. So I know it's hard for everybody else because it irks me to see what they're making people pay for now. And going to the grocery store and seeing how much shit costs, it's nuts. So now bring that into the equation, trolls, and folks that are trying to learn how to do this. They've never done it before. You have to have a goal to reach that's realistic, that it's rewarding if you hit it. And now I give you what? You aim for the 5, but to give yourself confidence, as soon as you get 3, close it and watch and see how many times it goes to the 5. That's what I had to do to build my confidence to get into trades. I conditioned myself that way. Cameron's in the process of going through that. He's going to go through that same process of you're looking for 5. As soon as you get 3, you're going to close it and then watch it. Does it deliver the 5? How long does it take? How much drawdown did you experience from the point where you took off 3 contracts the 3 handles in that one contract move. How much time did it take in drawdown before it went to the 5, or did it ever go there? Those things you keep a running log of. And you're going to be doing these multiple times intraday, which is why I'm telling you to get your $10,000 demo trade or demo account ready. Because I want you to be doing one mini, yes, with a $10,000 account, because I want you to see the effects of rushing in underfunded, but I'm going to show you how to correct the drawdown too. You're all going to create the drawdown because you're going to be doing things through ignorance. But I will teach you how to fix all that stuff and also how to fear getting in. I'm going to do the whole thing I did with myself and what I'm putting my sons through. You'll be able to accomplish beating that anxiety, that, performance anxiety is what it is. I'm afraid I'm going to do it wrong. I'm afraid it won't be like your trades are. I'm going to show you how to get past all that stuff. But for someone that's new, and I give them this model to start with, it's a looking glass. And it allows them to focus on what? Look for 5, be content with 3. And by conditioning themselves over and over again, intraday, using 1-minute charts, it gives them several opportunities per day to challenge themselves to have that experience. It's like a laboratory experiment. And you're going to be prompted to do that. And it's going to be viewed by the trolls as, oh, look at this, this is dumb. No. It's to help you become indifferent to the outcome, which is exactly what you need as a trader. When you put a trade on, you know that this is what your model says it should do. You also know that it's usually more times than not correct. So if it's more times correct than it's not, if it fails, it's not going to cause you to wig out. You're not going to say, oh, well, I'm going to have to jump on something else. This doesn't work anymore. You'll trust that this is a speed bump. That's all it is. It's not a roadblock. It's not a barrier. It's just something that didn't give you what you were wanting that time. Just like getting turned down on a Saturday night at the club. She's good looking, ain't she? Yeah, she is. You finally had the courage to go up there, and you went long on one contract trying to get 5, and you didn't get nothing. You got stopped out. As you said, I'm not interested. Sometimes the market's going to do that. Ladies, you're not exempt either. Sometimes it's just no. I hope he asks me out, and then you see his wife sit down next to him. Sometimes you're going to get full margin too. So by conditioning yourself, looking for something that's realistic and practical, 5 handles as a beginning, I think is reasonable. It's easy, in my opinion, but it's also powerful, because if you can develop the confidence to see this repeating, you're going to see a whole lot of fucking setups. A lot. And you're not going to be fearful of missing anything. Why? How can you get to the point of ICT never fearing missing a move? Because I see them fucking coming at all angles all the time. There's a lot of them. The point is you have to find the ones that you like. I literally walked through on Thursday with the GDP number with my son. I said, look, here's something can happen here. This is what's going to happen here. It was doing exactly what I said it was going to do. But I said, but I want to see the trade that goes up to the fair value gap. That's my trade. That's the one I want to do. But even though I'm calling it live right there in front of everyone that was listening to us, that's what it's like to be, well versed in this. You can see lots of 5-handle runs, up and down. And you're never going to be fearful, which means what? You're not going to be impulsive about getting any losing trade right away back. Just because I can see lots of trades and I can see them coming and I can engage on all of them. My experience has been when I've done that, I lose sight of where I am, and when the bigger moves come, because it's like a game after that. Like I'm like, okay, I did this one, I did that one, I did this one, I did that one, and I forgot, oh, I'm supposed to be looking for this. And it's, my obsessive compulsive this takes the better of me, and I don't do well in that situation. So which is why I did what with my trading. I have to be highly selective. I want to be in the moves that have the best potential for the big runaway runs. I know how to find them, but if I either miss them because it happened before I got to the charts, or it happened when I was sleeping, that's a move I can't participate in, and you can't either. I'm not getting up and saying, "Oh no, Bitcoin just moved 10,000 points over the last 6 weeks or whatever." I don't give a shit. That's not my market. I don't wake up and look at the S&P and say, "Oh shit, it moved 20 handles overnight. I wish I could have." No, I can find 20 handles in a day doing 5 handle runs, up, down, up, down. There's my 20 handles. I'm not worried about it. And you won't be worried about it, which is where you should be as a trader. You need to know what you're looking for, what you're going to accept as a trade that incurs risk, and be comfortable with that. And if it fails, you're not going to lose your mind about it. You're not going to be in a hurry to try to find something that really isn't in the chart. What you're trying to do is impose your will. You're looking through that looking glass in a losing position. You're in drawdown. You're going to manifest your next setup, even when it's not there. Why? Because you don't have a clue what you're doing. You don't know your model, because if you knew your model, you would sit still until it formed. Maybe you watch live streamers. Some of them don't live stream anymore because they wreck themselves. The ones that do it, if they're impulsive, if they go in and try to overcome and do more than they're supposed to, study them. If you know somebody that's like that, tell me who they are and a tweet to me. That way I can watch them and see, I don't want to go there and troll, and I'm asking none of you to go there and troll. But if it's someone that you see that is impulsive, that's a wonderful social experiment to study and observe them, not to bring hate on them, not to make them feel bad. That's not what this is. But if they're willing to put themselves out there like a fish in an aquarium for everybody to look at, that's a perfect experiment for you to see what not to do and watch them feel the anguish and struggle, trying to do something, expecting some specific outcome that's never going to come, because they're just reacting to price versus predicting price. I saw a tweet by a guy. I'm not going to name him. we talked once, not directly, but through online posts and such. And he posted something to the effect that your job is not to predict the market, but to react to price. Okay. So that's some grade A bullshit right there. And that's the reason why your results look like the way they do. And sir, you know who I'm talking about. It's you. And I'm not going to try to say anything more than that. But you have to predict the price. You have to. That's what every winning trader is trying to do. So how the fuck can you say your job is not to predict price? That's exactly what the fuck we're doing. That's like telling the football teams, your job is not to go get touchdowns. What the fuck are we here for? I'm here to predict the future. We're here to predict the fucking future. You can't think about what the fuck you're doing. You're trading futures, for fuck's sake. It's in the name. That's what you're doing. That's what the fuck we're doing. We're predicting the future. And when I see these people say your job as a trader is not to predict the future price movements, it's to be ready to react to price. How the fuck is that sound logic? That doesn't make any bit of fucking sense. That makes no sense at all. What the fuck? That makes no sense. And that's not the only person that said it. It's regurgitated, and it's posted all the time in shit from people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. How can you spend, seriously folks, holy shit, how long did it take for you to see me calling these things before the fact to know that, you know what, this ain't random anymore? And once you get to that point, okay, once you get to that point where you know it's not random and this shit is controlled, does it make any bit of fucking sense to listen to somebody tell you, or the world tossing out an opinion into the abyss of the internet, say your job as a trader is not to predict price. It's to be ready to react to it. How can anybody that has spent any considerable time with me proving what it is that I teach and show you what the real market is, how can anyone palate that? How can you accept that or even entertain it as a reasonable fucking consideration for what we do? Nobody fucking can do that. Nobody absolutely would accept that. Let me explain why that is perpetuated in this industry. This thought process is a very soothing excuse for why they suck. And there's no nice way of saying it. It's for people that don't know how to predict price. And it's a wonderful excuse for them to be able to lean on, cozy up to, and say, well, it's impossible to do anyway, so therefore I shouldn't feel bad about it. You bought the hook, line, and sinker that is in books. You can't predict price. No one can time the market. Well, I should change my motherfucking name to no one, because I'm proving it every fucking day. And guess who else is doing it? My fucking students. You're seeing them taking trades that I didn't even talk about, but they're using the logic that I've taught. So guess what that means? All the other bullshit is horse shit. Grade A. So yes, our job is absolutely predicting price. But in the beginning, you don't know how to do that. So how do you protect yourself from it? You go in with baby steps. Gradually teaching yourself to trust your ability to do it. Also, condition yourself. Build in coping mechanisms for bad character flaws, impatience, impulsiveness, gambling. All those things that you don't think you have right now until you start pushing a button. And then you're going to discover you're a fucking train wreck. You thought you had everything together. Did you ever see those guys that go around on YouTube? My wife shows me this stuff all the time. I don't entertain it myself, but she's a TikToker girl, right? She's she fucking eats this shit up all day long. And I'm like, do you feel your IQ dropping watching this shit? Like, I when you share some of this stuff, I literally feel like you fucking stole time from me. Like, what do you see in entertainment value in that? It's dumb. But she shares this stuff with me sometimes. She'll say, look at this guy here. And they'll ask people, how many states are in the United States? And some of the answers are shocking. And it's like, what the hell? That's nuts. And there's another one. So he'll say, hey, look, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Some of you probably already know where I'm going to go with this, but I lost my train of thought with it. Damn it, it'll come back to me. Give me a second. Let me get a drink here. Let me think. It's spring weather, by the way. I don't fucking drink alcohol. It's these goobers that think I'm drunk all the time. I am just off the rails sometimes, yes, but I'm not inebriated. I don't drink and I don't take drugs. So oh man, this guy, what does he do? He goes around and he asks people some shit. I don't know. I might not be able to come back. If I remember it, I'll tweet about it. I might even share a link to one of the videos. But oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay, thank you. He'll go up to a guy and say, hey, look at this woman here. What would you rate her? 10 being extremely beautiful and 1 being a grenade. What would you say? And they'll say, oh, well, I think she's a 6. And sometimes these women are drop dead gorgeous, like beautiful. And they come off with some stupid shit. Like, oh yeah, she's like a 6, maybe 6.5. And then he says, okay, what would you rate yourself? Oh shit, I'm a 9. And they literally look like a buster. Like they don't look like they even have a fucking job. It's a mess. So they end up taking that guy's picture and sharing it to another person, saying, what do you think about this person? And they're like, this guy's a bum, basically. He shouldn't be asking anybody out, right? And it's interesting to see what your perception is about yourself, especially if you're opinionated about other people. And It's very much like a fucking Vinny, where you're a little dick guy that runs around and think you're a savage and you can't do shit. And your opinion of yourself is gigantic, right? So he ain't packing shit downstairs. He don't have a giant piano. And that's what's like when you see these characters in industry. Like they go around with their ego. They go around saying how you should do things, but they bring nothing to the table showing what they can do at all but failure, not doing well, and they spread bad advice. Bad advice. They don't have students that are killing it. They don't have profitable students. They don't have people proving it. Nobody's interviewing their students. Nobody's seeing anybody getting six-figure withdrawals in accounts and companies that are literally interviewing them. So when you listen to other people talk shit about you, our community, and me, and what it is I'm teaching, and if you entertain that, if it gives you any negative feelings, you're not paying attention, because there's no reason for you to be even entertaining that bullshit. There's so much proof in here, you're drowning in it. It's intoxicating. It is a fucking cult of winning. But in the beginning, you can't appreciate that, because what are you doing? You're having that same complex that this gentleman highlights when he goes around asking other people, what do you think about this person here? What he's targeting is the ability for the human mind to look for the negative in any fucking thing. Toxic thinking in weak-minded individuals or ill-prepared people as traders, and everybody when they first start are all ill-prepared. But you don't know the level of toxicity in you until you start doing this. If you see somebody doing well and you feel like I got to start talking shit about this person. Well, you're a little Dick Vinny then. But if you look at other people and they're doing well and you don't feel like there's an issue, there's a problem, and you're like, wow, that person's really doing well. And even though you can't do what they're doing, you can't even do anything close to that, you can appreciate what they're doing and think, wow, that might be motivational for me to do that. Even though I can't do it, I don't feel like it's defeating for me to feel that way. Why? Because you're new. You're new at it. And so many, especially the young men, so many of the young men that come in this industry that follow other influencers that make it about image. Everything's got to be the new car, the nice cars. I'm telling you, having had lots of shit like that, it doesn't make you a better trader. And frankly, nobody gives a fuck once you show it. Once you show it, that's it. You done shot your wad. It's done. What are you going to do? Be seen in it again with a different haircut? They've already seen. Okay, so what? You got a car. Big deal. What have you been doing in your trades? Show me your live account trading. Show me over a chart while it's ticking real time. When I'm watching it, show me what the market's going to do. Tell me what it's going to do. And unfortunately, that's the stuff that never fucking happens. And that's where I live. That's my fast lane. I'm taking you in there doing that. But I also know, as your mentor, that you're going to have problems in the beginning. You're going to discover things about yourself that you are not going to like. And you're going to impulsively, because you're not disciplined, you're not going to have the impulse of a professional where it is, okay, I'm in a market environment right now that is not conducive for high probability. So I'm going to impulsively remove myself because my training tells me to do so. Not run away in fear, or not roll the dice and see what happens, which is predominantly what everybody does. That's the demo disease, okay? Push the button and see what happens. Push the button and see what happens. In the beginning, you're going to be a train wreck when you discover what you have as character flaws. Nobody has ever started this industry, ever. Ever. Never happened. It's never, ever happened. It's never happened. Where somebody walked out here, got it all right from day one, and never had hardships or had to wrestle with internal conflicts with what they are as a trader, what they're not as a trader. They don't have a person out there in the industry that's like that. Everybody comes in here and we are all baptized in the fire. And that is going to be pain. It's going to be loss. It's going to be frustration. And guess what, folks? Listen, friends and neighbors, that is absolutely part of this. And that's why I never make any sugarcoating about it. I want you to know that's coming, because that way you're prepared to, number one, identify it when it does. And then you have to do certain things to wrestle it and subdue it, because it will undo you. I don't go out there and say, go out there and try to go for 10 handles a day. That's unrealistic. I tell you to look for one 5-handle move. That's what you're looking for. In hindsight, by doing that every single day, you're conditioning your eye to see it. It's the same thing that happens when you go out and buy a car. Oh, I got this car. It's such a pretty blue color. Nobody's ever got a car that's this color in my neighborhood. And all of a sudden, as soon as you buy it and you drive home, on your way home, you done seen 17 of the same fucking car. It's like everybody went out there that day and bought your fucking car. How did that happen? How the fuck did that just happen? It didn't just happen. What you just did was you opened up and activated your reticular activating system. So now your subconscious that was filtering all that stuff out before, because it didn't matter that that car was owned by other people. You went to the lot, you saw it. Oh, I got to have that car. It means something to you now. It resonates with you. It's something that is part of you. So it should come to no surprise when every time you walk around, you see your car, because it means something. You have adopted that as something meaningful to you. Well, when I tell you to look at hindsight and backtest and study old data, looking for shit, and I tell you to pause the video, look through price and tell me what you see. Well, not that I tell you to tell me what you see, but annotate what you see in your log, in your journal. When you do that, what you're doing is you're activating your reticular activating system. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're inviting your subconscious to draw on to something that is meaningful to you. What is that? I'm teaching you fair value gaps, because it's the most visually identifiable thing in price action, apart from relative equal highs and relative equal lows. So in short, really, you could just trade with just that. They're the two most important, visually pleasing, easy to find. Jump on a chart real quick, any time frame, your eye will go right to the relative equal highs, relative equal lows. And if there's a fair value gap in the middle of it, and you know there's likely to go up there, well, you can buy the fair value gap and ride it up to the relative equal highs. There's your model right there. It's done. I just gave it to you, and it cost you nothing. Probably some of you never even thought about it. And you're like, now, oh man, I never thought about it like that. Yes, it's just like that. But when you don't go through old data and you just binge watch my videos, and you're not pouring yourself in charts, spending time literally every single day looking through charts, studying how these other moves that you can't make money or lose money in, everybody else is going to tell you it's a waste of fucking time. They're the same people that will not be trading with live funds 6 months later. There's a lot of bad advice in this industry, a lot of bad actors, and a lot of chapped asses, man. And I'm sorry it's harder for some of you. I'm sorry, but it wasn't easy for me in the beginning. I've just been doing a whole lot longer. I know what works, and I'm telling you, if you listen to the shit I'm telling you to do and avoid the things I'm telling you to avoid, you will save yourself a whole lot of time. And be accepting. Be flexible. Give yourself permission to take up to this year and maybe into next year to get it. For some of you, if you give yourself a broad timeline with no definitive, I got to know it by this time. You know, in a lot of ways, I regret having told you that my last live stream is going to be the second Friday of November, because it kind of pushed the envelope on pressure. Like, now you have to, by this date, I gave you a deadline. When I teach you, don't have a deadline. I didn't tell you that so that way you can be fearful of it. I've told you that so that way when I get to that point and I say I'm stopping, I can say, remember I told you, because that's just the way it is. I got to have an exit clause here. Okay. When I'm going to leave, why I'm leaving, and why it stopped. It wasn't because somebody ran me off the fucking internet. It wasn't because, I'm locked up. It wasn't because I'm, in the poorhouse. It's because Michael's going back to fucking doing what the book Michael does, okay, which is be Michael. And I've spent a lot of time, if I do this every week, every day, I'm investing a lot of time in all of you. And it's your job to do all the work in between, which is a lot. It is. And I saw a guy saying, listen, man, I love what you do, but listen, you're doing these Twitter spaces and you only give like 30 minutes of applicable information, and we got to sift through all that stuff. Listen, kindly, sir, please, don't send me shit like that, because that's the kind of stuff I block. Because you're saying my time investing into you, telling you all these things, you can't be successful if you just know the concepts of getting in, where to put a stop loss, all that other stuff. Because if it was just that easy, I can do that in a book and you won't make money with it. I can do that in a video because I've already done it, and you're not making money yet, because that's not all it is required. You have to understand the person that's in you that's going to absolutely fuck this up for you. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. We're not always going to be prepared for doing difficult things, and this is one of the most difficult things on this fucking planet. You're wrestling with yourself in an industry that's designed to take your ass the fuck out. You're not supposed to make money here, man. You're not. It was not created for everybody to walk in here and just know what's going on and make money. It was designed for, well, P.T. Barnum said it perfectly. The sucker. There's suckers born every day, and they come in here looking for animal patterns and bullshit Mickey Mouse things that tells them it's going to go up because moving averages are crossed over, and they lose their ass. And they get mad and they think, okay, I didn't do it right at that time. And they push and push and push, and they lose their ass again, not realizing that the market doesn't respect any of that bullshit. And if they have a strong opinion of you about how they won't ever submit to somebody else's stuff when the other stuff is absolutely what's going on, they become absolutely toxic to themselves and anybody else that listens or looks at them. And Vinnies have happened all the time. I've had Vinnies on America Online. Okay. I've had those kind of creepy bitches. Okay. they're weak people. Weak. And you're going to have them too. If you go out there on social media, you make yourself known, you're going to do something, and you're going to be consistent doing this. And you're going to rub all kinds of people wrong because they can't do it. And little dick complexes are going to materialize in men. Rarely will you ever see a woman come out there and start talking shit, unless it was Talking Options lady. And she got real quiet when I said, let's go and let's start showing some daily. Let's look at the statements. Let's do it. Let's call it live. And all that. And she just dropped off the face of the earth. Men are the ones that do it because it's ego. It's pride. It's the caveman mentality. And when you're young, you all, the younger men, you all want to do that because you think that's what this is about. And what you're trying to turn trading into is image-based. Image-based. Worship me. Give me attention, because you need to feel what? Like I have always wanted to feel. I wanted to have affirmations given to me from my grandfather. I can't get that. So I pursue things to try to give me that high that I never got from hearing it from my grandfather. I wanted that man's approval, and I can't get it. So I do everything in life trying to constantly seek the affirmations that what I'm doing is above grade of everything. And anybody that spends time with me really rolls their sleeves up. That's the common denominator response is, this is next level shit. And I know that. I know that. And when I see you succeed, and I see others that are among you in this community succeeding, it's thrilling to me. It's very satisfying.